Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do. Every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio. That's 98.7 FM in New York City. That's 710 ESPN LA. And, of course, nationwide over the airwaves of ESPN Radio. Sirius XM style, Channel 80. Number to call up, as always, is 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. Lots of stuff to get into today. More Kaepernick. Got a different angle that I need to bring to y'all attention that hasn't been broached enough. I'll definitely talk about that. Some NFL items on the docket to touch on, without question, no doubt about that. But you know what's on my mind right now? There's a list that's out. And if you go to theundefeated.com, you will see a category, a big story, emblazoned over their website, 50 greatest black athletes of all time. And everybody's got their particular order, and everybody's got their own thoughts, and everybody's got stuff that's going on, and we understand that. We get it. But it's worthy of discussing because of a potpourri of reasons. It's not to eliminate anybody. This is an all-inclusive conversation. Because you got a lot of people that feel what they feel for whatever reason. And it may be justified. But let me tell you something. You've got some people that think Michael Jordan's number one. You've got a lot of others who think Muhammad Ali is number one. You've got, inexplicably, because I can't understand it, Serena Williams outside of the top five. You got a whole bunch of stuff going on. And I think those are the kind of things that are important to mention. Those are the kind of things I'm trying to find the list here because I want to make sure that you understand what the top 10 list consists of. Michael Jordan, number one. Jackie Robinson, number two. Muhammad Ali, number three. Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, number four. Jesse Owens, number five. Serena Williams, number six. Hank Aaron, number seven. Simone Biles, number eight. Gabby Douglas, number nine. And the great Jerry Rice at number 10. Let me be the first to say I have a problem with this list. Before I even get into the particulars, let me be very, very clear. Muhammad Ali is number one and will forever be number one to me. You can leave Jackie Robinson at number two, integrating baseball in 1947. I'm good with that. You want to put Jesse Owens or Hank Aaron at number three? I'm good with either. I want Serena Williams in my top five. First of all, she's the greatest female tennis player ever alive. It's number one. Number two, the adversity that this woman and her family have had to endure. The shots taken at her. The way she's been maligned and caricatured and beyond. And the fact that she is still the ultimate champion that she is. Ladies and gentlemen, a few months ago, she won a title pregnant. Pregnant. She won a title. That's how special Serena Williams is. With a baby inside of her, she whipped people's butts. This woman is special. So I'm going to put her up there. And then, of course, I got to put Michael Jordan in the top five simply because he's MJ. He's the GOAT. And no matter what LeBron is, as the brilliant businessman that he is, not just a global iconic figure of an athlete that he is, he certainly doesn't deserve to be 29th, but he wouldn't be what he is off the court in all likelihood if it wasn't for individuals like Michael Jordan paving the way and showing the way. So that's the perspective upon which I'm coming from. And that's the perspective that I don't believe can be ignored. And everybody needs to pay rapt attention to. That's where I'm at with it. We can talk about Bill Russell. We can talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Arguably, they belong in the top five. But the reason I bring this subject up is because what I'm really, really asking, and let's not forget Jesse Owens either, because the man ran in front of Hitler, for crying out loud. And we all know what Hank Aaron had to endure, being the home run king, and the death threats and the racist taunts and everything else that he had to endure. But the thing about it, the reason why this subject is so important to somebody like me is because who's not on the top 10 list? And that would be Tiger Woods. And ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first to say, I want to put this out there on Front Street so everybody can understand exactly where I'm coming from. Tiger Woods doesn't deserve to be on the list. First of all, he's a golfer. He's not an athlete. He's a golfer. Secondly, and in my mind, most importantly, and in the minds of African Americans throughout this nation, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't want to embrace his blackness. That's a big deal. That's not being incendiary. That's not being insulting. It's being factual. I don't know whether it was cannibal and Asian or whatever the hell he called himself. I don't remember the words he told Oprah, but he didn't want to embrace his blackness. I'm not denigrating the man. I'm not insulting the man. I respectfully disagree with him. But let me tell you why. It's incredibly important that he be left off this top 10 list. You know why it's so important? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if this nation has not taught us anything else, it has taught us that the more you're unwilling to identify yourself with your own ethnicity, particularly when you are black, the road to prosperity has been made easier for you. Ali didn't do that. Jackie Robinson didn't do that. Hank Aaron didn't do that. Jesse Owens didn't do that. Serena Williams hasn't done that. But Tiger Woods did. And the fact that you didn't have to endure that level of adversity that those others that I mentioned, the Bill Russells, Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, the Jim Browns, the Kurt Floods of the world, and others, the fact that you purposely removed yourself from that black equation, you didn't have to toil the trials and tribulations that those individuals that I mentioned had to. And it is because of that reality that Tiger Woods, to me, isn't even a part of this conversation. That's how I feel about it. What about you? 866-729-ESPN is the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. And it's apropos to segue from that particular subject to Colin Kaepernick. Because the reports are erroneous, by the way, where it talked about Spike Lee is putting together a protest, and they're going to protest outside the corridors of NFL headquarters on August 23rd. Spike Lee texted me this morning after that report was out, after I said this is what was going on. He said it's not true. He isn't organizing anything. He will not be there, but he will be there in spirit because he is in support of Colin Kaepernick. But he hasn't organized any protests, nor does he plan on being a part of it. But with that being said, he's with them in spirit. Colin Kaepernick, in a lot of people's eyes, is one of those athletes that I mentioned, not necessarily his greatness, but the fact that he's willing to take on a challenge. He's willing to sacrifice, etc., etc. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. I've spoken to a few other black people who don't feel that way about Colin Kaepernick. Notice I said black folks because we can't put everything on the white folks. Can't do it. It's not fair. Can't put it on Latinos. Can't put it on anybody else who don't happen to be black, but may respectfully disagree with Colin Kaepernick's position. Over the last 24 hours, since I got off the airwaves, I've spoken to numerous black folks whose attitude is bump Colin Kaepernick. You know what they point to? They said Stephen A. He kneeled for the national anthem. He wouldn't stand. Others joined in, like Brandon Marshall for the Denver Broncos, along with a few Miami Dolphins and others. They said they cost themselves endorsements, 6 if not 7 figures in certain respects, because of the stance that they took. What does Colin Kaepernick do? Doesn't have a plan. On top of it all, he chose to opt out of his contract with the San Francisco 49ers. He didn't have to be without a job right now. I had one guy that just got off the phone with me an hour ago and said, wait a minute. Colin Kaepernick quit on the San Francisco 49ers. Do you have any idea, Stephen A., how much heat Colin Kaepernick took, or how much heat, rather, the 49ers took? Because when Colin Kaepernick took the position that he took, they supported him as an organization. What did he do? Restructure his deal so he'd have the license to opt out of his contract at the end of the 2016 season and leave them high and dry after they support him and took heat from other owners and teams in the league. Stephen A., why are you feeling sympathetic towards Colin Kaepernick? Who the hell is he? That's what they said. And you know something? I usually have answers. I didn't have an answer to that one. He opted out of his deal. He could have made at least $12 million this year. He elected to pass and put himself on a free agent market. So if you are an owner and you're looking at the position that Colin Kaepernick took and you already had a problem with the San Francisco 49ers for supporting him, but then you turn around and watch Colin Kaepernick essentially quit on the same organization who stood up and supported him, why should you feel compelled to support him? I have an answer to that question. But it doesn't mean that the question itself is not legitimate. There is a legitimate question there in regards to Colin Kaepernick. Because before all of this went haywire, he was employed and essentially quit on the San Francisco 49ers. He didn't have to be without a job right now. He actually chose to do that. And in light of that reality, how should we really feel about Colin Kaepernick at this moment in time? Not because of kneeling for the national anthem, the totality, kneeling, ultimately agreeing that he'll stand, changing his positions, opting out of his contract. How sympathetic of a figure should he truly be? 866-729-ESPN is the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio.